A man in New Jersey filed his green card petition in 2009. He was 31 years old. He had just bought his first home. His daughter was 2. Today, that daughter is 18 years old. She is applying to college, and her father is still waiting, still on H-1B, still cannot change jobs freely, still cannot make permanent plans in the only country his daughter has ever called home. 17 years, one priority date, one bulletin that moves inches when it needs to move miles. Right now, in April 2026, that bulletin is about to drop, and for millions of applicants born in India, China, Mexico, and the Philippines, what is predicted inside it will either move their lives forward or set them back further than they were last month. This is not background information, this is your life on a government chart, and what you learn in this video, right now, before that bulletin is officially released, could be the most important immigration information you receive all year. Welcome to Global Immigration News. What we are delivering today is a complete data-driven country-by-country breakdown of what is predicted in the April 2026 Visa Bulletin. The movement, the surprises, the risks, and the exact actions you need to take before this bulletin officially drops. And before we go one word further, complete transparency. These are analytical predictions built on official movement patterns, fiscal year consumption data, and category-specific demand trends. The April 2026 bulletin has not yet been officially published. We are giving you the most informed predictive picture available so you can prepare strategically instead of reacting blindly when the numbers land. We will never present predictions as confirmed facts. That line matters, and we will never cross it. Now let us go, because every section of this video contains information that could directly reshape your immigration timeline. Here is the brutal truth that lives underneath every Visa Bulletin conversation, and that most people never say out loud. The Visa Bulletin does not just control when you can file a form. It controls when you can accept a job promotion, when you can change employers without gambling years of work on a single decision, when your spouse can work legally, when your child can stop growing up with one parent living in a different country, when you can finally stop renewing temporary status every 2 or 3 years and start living like you actually belong in the country you have given your career, your taxes, and your best years to. For applicants born in India, China, Mexico, and the Philippines, this monthly document is the calendar by which their entire lives are scheduled, which is why understanding what is coming in April before it arrives is not optional. It is essential. Let us establish the mechanics quickly, because understanding the system is what separates applicants who act correctly from applicants who miss life-changing windows. The United States issues a fixed number of green cards each year, divided by category and by country of birth. When demand exceeds that fixed number, which in these 4 countries it does by a magnitude that the system was never designed to handle, a backlog forms. Your position in that backlog is your priority date. The Visa Bulletin publishes cutoff dates. If your priority date is earlier than the published cutoff, you can move forward. If it is later, you wait. These cutoffs move forward and backward month by month based on visa usage, demand volume, and annual numerical limits that reset every October 1st. The bulletin operates on 2 charts. The final action dates chart, which controls when USCIS can actually approve your green card, and the dates for filing chart, which in certain months allows you to submit your I-485 adjustment of status application even before your final action date becomes current. Whether USCIS accepts that second chart is announced separately, and that separate announcement creates filing windows that thousands of applicants miss every single year. We will come back to this at the end of this video because it may be the single most important sentence you hear today. Now, country by country. India. There is no diplomatic way to describe what the India employment-based backlog has done to human lives, so we will describe it directly. The EB2 and EB3 categories for India-born applicants carry wait times that are not measured in months or even years. They are measured in decades. Professionals who arrived in the United States on F1 student visas, built careers in technology, engineering, medicine, and research, who have paid hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes, who have contributed innovations that powered American companies, are waiting in a queue that, at current processing rates, will not clear for some of them in their working lifetime. This is not exaggeration. This is the documented mathematical reality of a per-country cap system that assigns the same annual numerical limit to India, a country producing the largest volume of high-skilled employment-based green card applicants in the world, as it assigns to countries sending a fraction of that volume. The injustice of this structure is widely acknowledged. The structure itself has not changed. For India EB2 heading into April 2026, the prediction is cautious forward movement. The final action date is expected to advance by several weeks to approximately 1 month. For applicants whose priority dates are sitting just behind the current cutoff, that movement is the difference between filing now and waiting through another month of H-1B pressure, employer uncertainty, and family stress. But India EB2 carries a real vulnerability going into April. When large technology employers file significant petition batches in the preceding months, which demand data suggests has been occurring, the resulting spike in demand can cause a predicted advance to instead arrive flat. The prediction is forward movement. The risk is flat movement. Know both possibilities so neither one catches you without a plan. For India EB3, the April prediction requires every applicant who is currently considering or actively pursuing an EB2 to EB3 port to pay extremely close attention. Strategic downgrading. Filing an EB3 petition while maintaining an approved EB2 petition to access potentially faster movement has pushed significant additional demand into the India EB3 queue over the past 3 years. The category that once moved ahead of EB2 for India has developed its own congestion. The April 2026 prediction for India EB3 is limited forward movement, potentially matching or slightly trailing the EB2 advance. For applicants with priority dates in the 2012 to 2014 window, any forward movement is real and meaningful. For applicants currently weighing the port strategy, use the April movement in both categories as live data to inform that decision. The colleague who ported 2 years ago made that decision in a different demand environment. Your decision needs to be made in this one. China. The China employment-based backlog is smaller in total volume than India's, but carries its own specific pain point that has blindsided an entire category of highly credentialed professionals. The emergence of a meaningful wait time in EB1, the premium category that covers extraordinary ability, outstanding researchers and multinational executives, is something that China-born applicants who chose EB1 specifically to avoid long waits did not see coming. EB1 historically moved without country-specific backlogs. The professionals who entered it to escape EB2 and EB3 queues discovered that enough applicants had the same strategy to create a new backlog in the category they chose for its speed. For China EB1 in April 2026, the prediction is limited forward movement, potentially a few weeks of advancement, potentially holding at current levels. For applicants who selected this premium category precisely because they expected faster resolution and who are now experiencing meaningful wait times for the second or third time as they have moved between categories, this news requires a direct recalibration of planning assumptions. China EB1 is moving, but it is not moving fast. And building a career, a job change, a family plan around an assumption of imminent final action in this category in April 2026 is not supported by the trend data. For China EB2, April 2026 brings the most encouraging predicted picture in the China employment-based analysis. The final action date has been advancing more actively than India EB2, reflecting the lower total demand volume in the China-born queue. And the April prediction continues that pattern with moderate forward movement expected. Applicants with China EB2 priority dates in the 2019 to 2021 range are entering a zone of meaningful relevance in the coming months. The April Bulletin will tell you exactly how quickly that zone is approaching. For China EB3, similar moderate advancement is projected with the standard demand spike caveat. A month where the predicted advance arrives flat is not a crisis, but it is a planning disruption for applicants who were counting on April movement to trigger a specific action in their case. Anticipate both outcomes. Prepare for either. Mexico. When we talk about the Mexico family-based backlog, we need to stop for a moment and say something that data alone cannot say. Behind every priority date in these categories is a family that is fractured. Not because someone violated a law, not because someone failed a test or missed a deadline, but because the mathematical gap between how many people qualify for these visas and how many visas the system issues every year has never been closed, and families are living inside that gap, year after year, trying to build a life with a border running through the middle of it. For Mexico F2A, spouses and minor children of lawful permanent residents, April 2026 carries the most emotionally significant prediction in the entire family-based analysis. This category has been building forward momentum, and the April prediction points to continued meaningful advancement, potentially bringing priority dates from late 2022 into active range. Read that again. Spouses who have been separated for years, children who have been growing up with one parent, families conducting a marriage across an international phone call and a physical border. The April movement in Mexico F2A is not a statistic. For the families it affects, it is a countdown. If your priority date is approaching the current F2A cutoff zone, the April Bulletin requires your absolute full attention because a filing window could open that you genuinely cannot afford to miss. For Mexico F2B, unmarried adult children of permanent residents, April brings a more conservative picture. Limited advancement, consistent with the slow, inconsistent pattern this category has shown in recent months. For Mexico F3 and F4, the backlogs stretch so far back that the conversation about monthly movement requires a different kind of honesty. Priority dates in Mexico F4 currently reflect petitions filed well over a decade ago. People who were young adults when their sibling filed on their behalf are now approaching middle age. The April prediction offers minimal forward movement in these categories, not because the government has forgotten these applicants, but because no single month's bulletin can close a gap that was built over 20 years of structural underfunding of these visa numbers. For applicants in these categories, the importance of monthly monitoring is not about expecting a breakthrough. It is about maintaining accurate timelines and making life decisions with the clearest possible picture of where your date actually stands. Philippines. The Philippines green card situation in 2026 represents one of the most consequential and most under-discussed immigration backlogs in the entire United States immigration system, and it matters not just to the Filipino immigrants inside it, but to every American who has ever received care from a Filipino nurse in an American hospital, because that is the human reality embedded in Philippines EB3. Filipino healthcare professionals, nurses, physical therapists, medical technologists were actively recruited by American healthcare systems to fill critical staffing gaps. They came, they worked, they cared for patients through a global pandemic, they stayed, and they have been waiting years in the EB3 queue for the permanent residents that would give their commitment to this country the legal foundation it has long deserved. For Philippines EB3 in April 2026, the prediction is meaningful forward movement, potentially one of the more significant single-month advances this category has seen in recent months. For Filipino healthcare workers who have spent years delivering care that American hospitals cannot function without, while simultaneously navigating visa renewals, employment authorization uncertainty, and the specific anxiety of a status that could theoretically be disrupted by a single administrative delay, this advance is more than good news. It is movement toward the security they have earned. If you are a Filipino healthcare worker in EB3, or if you know someone who is, watch this bulletin the moment it is published. The advance predicted for April could bring your priority date into range sooner than your current planning assumes. For Philippines family-based categories, F1 for unmarried adult children of US citizens and F3 for married children, April continues the moderate advancement pattern of recent months. Philippines F4 carries the same structural depth challenge as Mexico F4, a backlog built over decades that monthly movement can chip away at but cannot suddenly resolve. Every forward movement is real, every month of advancement matters, But accurate expectations in these categories require honesty about the scale of what is waiting to be cleared. Now, the most important thing in this entire video, more important than any specific date prediction, more important than any individual category movement, the question that could determine whether you file in April or wait another year for a comparable opportunity. Will USCIS accept the dates for filing chart in April 2026? Here is why this question has this much weight. If USCIS accepts the dates for filing chart, which it announces separately from the bulletin itself, typically in a news release on uscis.gov around the same time the bulletin publishes, then applicants whose priority dates are current on that chart but not yet current on the final action dates chart can submit their I-485 adjustment of status application. Filing an I-485 when this window opens does something that simply waiting does not do. It locks in your filing date. It starts the processing of your employment authorization document. It initiates your advance parole travel document. It protects your priority date position in a concrete, documented way. And it gives your attorney a foundation to work from that open-ended waiting simply cannot provide. Missing a dates for filing window because you did not see the USCIS announcement because you were watching for the bulletin but not for the separate filing chart notice is one of the most painful, avoidable mistakes in the entire green card process. It is painful because it looks like a small oversight, and because the consequence of that small oversight can be an additional year or more before a comparable window appears again. Watch for the bulletin. Watch for the USCIS announcement on the same day, every single month, and specifically this April. What you need to do right now, before the April bulletin is released, know your exact priority date, the precise date on your I-797 approval notice, not approximately, exactly. Know which chart you are monitoring and what the current cutoff is for your specific category and country of birth. Have a direct conversation with a qualified immigration attorney this week about what your filing strategy should be if the April movement lands where it is predicted, because the decision of whether to file, what forms to include, and how to document that filing correctly is a case-specific legal decision, not a prediction anyone can make for you from the outside. And when the April bulletin drops, read it the same day. Read the USCIS announcement the same day, because windows in this system do not stay open. They open, they close, and the next one may be further away than you expect. This is the level of coverage that Global Immigration News delivers every single month for every country and every category that matters to the immigrants watching this channel. If this breakdown gave you real clarity, if you now understand your position in this system more precisely than you did before this video started, subscribe right now, turn on your notifications. When the official April 2026 Visa Bulletin is released, we will be here within hours with a complete analysis of every movement, every surprise, and exactly what it means for your case. You need that analysis the moment it exists. Subscribe so you have it the moment it goes live. And join our WhatsApp channel right now. The second the April Bulletin publishes, the second USCIS releases its filing chart announcement, that information hits our WhatsApp channel before anywhere else. The link is in the description below. Join before this video ends. Here is what you carry from today. India EB2, cautious forward movement predicted with real vulnerability to flat movement on demand spikes. India EB3, limited advancement, port strategy decisions need April data before action. China EB1, limited movement, recalibrate planning assumptions if you expected imminent resolution. China EB2 and EB3, moderate advancement continuing recent trend, 2019 to 2021, priority dates approaching meaningful range. Mexico F2A, meaningful advance predicted, potential filing window for late 2022 priority dates. Mexico F2B, F3, F4, limited to minimal movement. Accurate expectations matter more than hope in these categories. Philippines, EB3, significant predicted advance with real impact on healthcare worker applicants. Philippines, family-based, moderate advancement continuing. And across every single country and every single category, the USCIS dates for filing chart announcement is the most time-critical document to watch for this April. Missing it is not a minor oversight. It is a years-long consequence, dressed as a single moment of inattention. The man in New Jersey has been waiting since 2009. He deserves to stop waiting. So do you. And the first step toward that end is knowing exactly where you stand, exactly what is coming, and exactly what to do when the window opens. Do not miss it. We will see you in the next video.